The cafe was buzzing that evening, filled with the warmth of chatter, the clinking of cups, and the comforting aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Tourists wandered in and out, some seeking shelter from the evening chill, others simply drawn by the glow of golden lights that spilled out onto the cobblestone street. Among them was a young woman named Layla, balancing trays with graceful ease despite the exhaustion that weighed heavily on her shoulders. Layla had been working long shifts at the cafe for months. Her dream was bigger than the little apron tied around her waist. She wanted to return to university, to finish her studies in languages and become a translator. But life had taken unexpected turns. Her father's illness, mounting bills, and the burden of supporting her younger brother had forced her to set aside her dreams, at least for now. She never complained, though. She worked quietly, her soft smile hiding the fatigue, her kindness shining through in how she treated every customer who crossed her path. That night, a presence entered the cafe that seemed to shift the entire atmosphere. A man in an expensive tailored suit walked in, his posture commanding attention, his every step exuding power. His driver followed, carrying shopping bags from the most exclusive boutiques in town. Conversations hushed for a moment as people turned to look at him. This was Sheikh Karim al-Mansour, a wealthy businessman from the Gulf, known for his arrogance and his dismissive treatment of those he considered beneath him. He chose a table in the center, snapping his fingers at Layla as if she were invisible until called. The gesture made her cheeks flush with quiet indignation, but she approached him with the same composure she gave to all her customers. "Yes, sir, what would you like today?" she asked softly. The Sheikh barely looked up, scrolling on his phone. "Coffee. Black. And be quick. I don't have time for incompetence." His tone was sharp, dismissive, cutting into her like a blade. The people at the nearby tables glanced awkwardly at one another. Layla bit the inside of her cheek, nodded politely, and hurried to prepare his order. She placed the steaming cup before him a few minutes later, her movements careful and respectful. But Sheikh Karim wasn't satisfied. He sipped the coffee, then slammed the cup onto the table. "What is this?" he barked loudly. "Do you even know how to make coffee? Back in my country, even the servants do better than this." His words echoed through the cafe, and a hush fell over the room. Layla's heart pounded in her chest. She had endured rudeness before, customers who snapped, who complained, who treated her like she was nothing. But something about the Sheikh's voice, the public humiliation, and the sheer arrogance stirred something inside her. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from a growing fire that refused to be silenced. She met his gaze, her eyes steady, and for the first time spoke not as a waitress, but as the educated, determined woman she truly was. In perfect, fluent Arabic, her voice calm yet strong, she said. "Perhaps, Sheikh, it is not the coffee that is bitter, but your heart. True greatness is not shown by wealth or power, but by how one treats those who serve them." The cafe froze. The Sheikh's eyes widened, his phone forgotten in his hand. He had not expected this young waitress in a European city to respond to him in his own language and with such eloquence. For a moment, he was speechless. The other customers exchanged stunned glances, and then, slowly, a murmur of approval spread. Karim's face darkened, but not with anger, rather with shame. No one had ever dared to speak to him that way, especially not someone he thought beneath him. He cleared his throat, trying to recover his composure. "You speak Arabic?" he asked, his tone softer now, disbelief coloring his voice. "Yes," Layla replied firmly. "I studied languages at university. I know your language, your culture, your poetry. But most of all, I know that respect should never be measured by money or status. It should come from the heart." There was silence again, but this time it was heavy with emotion. The Sheikh lowered his gaze, and for the first time in years, he felt small, not because of wealth or power, but because of his own arrogance. He looked at the young woman standing before him, and in her words he saw a mirror reflecting his flaws. Layla returned to her work, her heart racing but her spirit unshaken. She had not spoken out of pride, but out of a truth she could no longer keep silent. Later that evening, when the cafe began to empty, Sheikh Karim remained at his table, deep in thought. Finally, he approached the counter where Layla stood. His voice, once sharp and commanding, was now quiet and almost hesitant. "I owe you an apology," he said, this time in Arabic. The words were awkward on his tongue, but they were sincere. I was wrong to speak to you that way. I have forgotten what respect means. Thank you for reminding me. Layla looked at him, surprised by the humility in his tone. She gave a small smile. Apologies matter when they are followed by change, she replied gently. Kareem nodded, understanding the weight of her words. For the first time, he extended his hand, not as a sheikh above a waitress, but as a man seeking forgiveness. Layla hesitated, then shook it, because kindness was the language she believed in most. Over the following weeks, something remarkable happened. The sheikh began visiting the cafe regularly, no longer as the arrogant man who once belittled her, but as someone eager to learn. He listened more, spoke less, and treated those around him with newfound respect. People noticed the change, and whispers spread of how a simple waitress had taught an arrogant sheikh the true meaning of dignity. As for Layla, she continued to work tirelessly, but now with a renewed sense of hope. Inspired by her courage, Kareem offered to support her studies, not as charity, but as recognition of the strength she had shown. At first, she refused, determined to stand on her own feet. But he insisted, saying, "This is not a gift. It is an investment in the kind of wisdom the world desperately needs." And so, Layla returned to university, her dream reignited. She balanced work and studies, knowing that every step forward was proof that kindness and courage could change even the hardest of hearts. The story of that night spread far beyond the cafe. To those who heard it, it was not about wealth or class, but about the power of respect, the courage to speak the truth, and the reminder that humanity binds us all, no matter who we are. Final message for your video. So, dear friends, what did you think of this story? If you were in Layla's place, would you have had the courage to speak up? Or if you were in Sheikh Kareem's position, would you have the humility to change? Share your thoughts in the comments, I would love to hear them. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Be kind always for more inspiring stories that remind us of the power of respect, kindness, and courage. Remember, wealth may shine for a moment, but kindness shines forever.